And welcome. It's Thursday morning for me. I've decided to take a couple of days off work, recharge the batteries. So here's a very early Thursday comic review show where I've got a stack of comics. I've got about 8 or 9 I think. I think there's 8 comics this week. There's some good ones in there. There are. Let's kick off with a rather disappointing Wolverine and the X-Men, issue 12. I guess this is because I haven't been sucked into this whole Avengers versus X-Men deal, so all this in here is a little bit confusing, quite frankly. The storyline seems to be heavily involved with Rachel Grey and her kind of dealings with this Phoenix Force that's approaching Earth, and this is the problem with only really having this comic that's being tied into the whole Avengers vs X-Men. I know what's happened already, you know, I know about this Phoenix 5 deal, sort of, from what I hear from you guys out there, but that's kind of about it all, and you don't really get the sense of it in here. They all seem to be still running after Hope, trying to find her. I'm not sure why now, given that the Phoenix Force has decided to pick, you know, these 5 X-Men to house the Phoenix Force. So just reading this on its own, it does nothing for me, and it's such a shame. And it's annoying, it's because Wolverine and the X-Men has been a great fun ride from the very beginning. What is annoying me more is, given that this is Wolverine and the X-Men, Wolverine's with the Avengers here. Again, makes no sense. I'm sick, I'm tired of Marvel doing these big events and expecting you to pick up every single issue tie-in so the story makes sense. I'm not made of money. We're all not made of money. If you want to do an event, just do a 12 mini issue kind of series, tell your story in that, and if you want to read that, then you read it. If you want to throw some bits out at the end in various titles and the kind of what falls out, the fallout from this event in your other titles, then so be it. But to have all these titles, it's just confusing to the reader. Spoil my enjoyment of this, and this is why this is... I didn't read it last, but it certainly would have been at the bottom of the stack if I knew it had been this boring. Kid Gladiator's out there beating up on all the Avengers, which is just ridiculous. Rachel Grey, she knocks out Thor. Is she that powerful? I don't remember much about her. Fine, she's had the Phoenix Force inside her, but is that possible? Completely confusing. I can't wait for this banner to be removed and we can get back to it just being Wolverine and the X-Men. Ugh. Oh dear. Amazing Spider-Man, issue 688. I think I'm kind of falling out of love again with Spider-Man. I don't know what it is. Something's just not meshing, clicking with me anymore. Yes, Spider Island was great. It had action, it had emotion, you were involved. Since then, and obviously the whole Ends of the Earth, which I didn't like, my passion for Amazing Spider-Man after getting back on board after so many years is starting to dwindle again. I mean, this is an okay story. It's the Lizard, it's Spidey, and it's Morbius. It's another kind of let's get Lizard back to being Doc Connors. And there is an element of a twist at the end which, while you don't necessarily see it coming, it's no big shock. There's nothing, there's no wham anymore. And I'm just kind of... I'm going to hold out with this series until they bring out this alpha character, this new supervillain for Spidey that's upcoming. See if that brings new life to the issue, to this title. But at the moment, I'm just feeling a bit lackluster about Amazing Spider-Man, and that shouldn't be what it is. I mean, yeah, Amazing Spider-Man, it's their top title. It's like their top tier money making kind of deal. Yes, I believe Lizard is going to be in the new Amazing Spider-Man film. The cynics among us would think, well, this is why we've got a Lizard story now. The only little bit that I did kind of enjoy and put a smile on my face was finally someone calls Peter out on this whole "when I'm around no one dies" deal. I'm so glad it was MJ. Yes, it's such a stupid thing to say. You may be able to climb walls, you may be able to spin webs all over the place, you may have the super spider sense, but at the end of the day, you are a human being, and human beings make mistakes. No one is ever going to blame you for them. So I kind of like that, and especially coming from Mary Jane. But apart from that, a pretty average issue, I'm afraid. From Image, I think this might have come out last week, but I didn't see it because someone asked me why I hadn't reviewed it. And to be fair, I wasn't sure whether I was going to pick it up anyway, but I saw it on the shelf, and I saw the lovely variant cover by Frank Avila, and I decided to pick it up. Oh, and it's frustrating. It's Mind the Gap, issue 2. The murder mystery kind of continues, and I love these kind of stories, and especially when, you know, like in TV shows, I watch them, but I seriously must be the stupidest guy on the planet because I never work it out. And this is kind of one of the books that frustrates me more because, again, at the end of the title, the writer McCann has kind of written like a postscript, like he did in the last issue, where, you know, there's bits you might have missed, like little Easter eggs that you've got to look out for, and he does another page of that, and it's when he says, like, in every scene of this title that you're holding now, i.e. this one, it answers questions, it raises more questions, and I just feel a bit stupid that I'm not picking up on them. It's a great title, and I'm so intrigued by it all. This whole kind of limbo area that they call the Garden, where all the coma victims are just floating around, either waiting to die or waiting to be revived and come, you know, wake up again. The fact that Ellie can possess other bodies that are in comas and no one else in the Garden can. The mystery of who this hooded character is, and it's kind of like Dallas and JR, who shot JR. You have all these potential culprits, and they're all wearing hoods, and you think, oh my god, look, he's wearing a hood, it's got to be him. And then in the next couple of pages, there's someone else wearing a hood. Oh, it's frustrating, but it's a fun type of frustrating. Go and find issue 1 of Mind the Gap, and then go out and pick up issue 2. It's a fun read. Image are putting out some great new titles, and just showing, you know, the big two that, hey look, we're someone to be reckoned with. We've got some great storytelling talent. The artwork by Esquijo and Obeck. It's okay, it's very imagey, kind of reminiscent of Morning Glories kind of artwork, but it's great. Love the title. From Marvel, The Incredible Hulk, issue 10, and it's Hulk in Space! Hulk's found himself in space aboard a cloaked Russian satellite that was put up in the Cold War. Now, I have a little bit of a problem with that. Apparently, what we have is this Russian space station that was put into space, that has this cloaking device, and no one has seen it since the Cold War. And basically everyone's forgotten about it. There's been too much stuff going on down on Earth, and the Russians appear to have forgotten about it. and it's populated with these children, and they have a kind of coming of age initiation ceremony where they have to go and see Mother. And to do this they have to go through this kind of metal garden. It's like a forest of trees, but everything's metal, and housed within this kind of garden forest are these mechanicized bears, and Daddy's out there too, and Daddy's a bit of an angry man, and I guess when you get an angry Russian and you get an angry Hulk together, there's going to be a lot of smashing. It was a fun issue. There's a few plot devices that are a bit come on now, but it was fun. Again, it's this whole, what is Banner up to? He's purposefully putting Hulk in all these completely random places, and from these random places he's taking certain things that he apparently needs for, you know, a big plan. I'm having a lot of fun with the Incredible Hulk. The artwork by Rainey is a lot of fun. The last time I think I saw him was on Ultimate X-Men in the first volume, and I do like it. I do like the over-detailed, kind of almost cartoony artwork. It's fun. I'm having a lot of fun with the Hulk. Who'd have thought? Now, I didn't think, oh, this is a difficult one, because you're thinking, why is this so high when you're gonna start criticising it? And I am, and I know this isn't a particularly popular title, and it is meant to be one of kind of, I guess, DC's flagships. It's Justice League issue 10. Now, as I was reading it, my first impressions were, this is very much style over substance. I'm kind of, not something I normally do on my first read, but I'm lingering on artwork rather than what's actually being told to me. And Jim Lee's artwork is very nice on here. You cannot, well, you can if you want to disagree, but, you know, I think he does a great job when he does his superhero comics. There's no doubt about it, and I think this is its strongest pro on this, that but it's also its strongest con, because Lee's art kind of distracts from the fact that this isn't really an original story. There's no originality here. We've had the whole, the villain finds out all our superheroes' weaknesses and overcomes them and seems to destroy the League, and this is basically what happens in this issue. We get a little bit of back history about Graves and what he's been doing over the last few years, but it all seems a little done before. But I still am enjoying it. It sounds crazy. It's just a kind of one of those no-brainer comics where, you know, things happen, it looks pretty, big dramatic finish, well, let's get on to the next one. It's a bit of a McDonald's meal. We know we shouldn't have them, but they're still a bit delicious. I don't know. There were some interesting moments in here. Cyborg's knowledge of the team members is a little bit scary. He seems to know more than even Batman does, and Batman is always the one who, you know, knows everything and keeps it all tightly to his chest, but Cyborg knows everything and he's letting everybody know. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic that could be created from there. But apart from that, there's not much else to say about Justice League. You read it, you have fun for that 10 minutes or so that you read it. If you're reading it, you're probably enjoying it anyway. If you're not reading it, I wouldn't suggest go rush out and buy it, but there you go. So from one Justice League to another, we go to Justice League Dark, and it's issue number 10 again. And I'm so glad Jeff Lemire's on this title. He's a very good storyteller, I have to say. I love that they've incorporated the House of Mysteries. Or House of Mystery, I should say. At the end of last issue, they have a map to the Books of Magic. Books of Magic, powerful entities. If brought together, you are one powerful member of society. Argus wants it. John Constantine obviously wants them. And there is the whole team debate about what they are going to do with it once they find them. Obviously there's a lot of other people after those books as well for less than good intentions. The whole house, like I said, the whole House of Mystery building, and this is apparently John Constantine's home from home. It is quite amusing, and the fact that he has tricked, as always, a kind of devil to be his, like a demon to be his manservant within the building. Again, another premonition from Madame Xanadu, the whole ends of the end of the earth, end of the earth kind of scenario, the apocalyptic mounds of human beings with our heroes from Justice League Dark on there. It's interesting, I did notice this time, looking at the bodies on the ground, I need to remind myself, I can remember one of them, but another one I don't remember. But the on the mound, yes, we see, strangely enough, there's Deadman, there's Zatanna, there's John Constantine, and then there's Swamp Thing there, and there's what looks like, I think it's Frankenstein from Agent of Shade. Now, I know John Constantine is dipping in and out of the Swamp Thing title, but I don't think it's really been ever referred to, from what I remember, in this actual title. There is someone else there, and I'm trying to work out, oh it is, it's Etrigan. Oh yeah, it's Etrigan. From Demon Knight. I've just switched the page around a bit to have a look, and now I can see him properly. So it's interesting that all those characters are there, and obviously Zatanna, John Constantine, Etrigan, Swamp Thing I guess to an extent, Deadman I guess to an extent, very much magic users. But this premonition that we've only seen little glimpses of anyway goes a bit further, and it's one of our team that looks like is the baddie. But again, a nice little tiny twist with Madame Xanadu's premonition, which feeds into this current storyline that we're at the House of Mystery. I really like this title. With Jeff Lemire, I think we needed someone, new blood in the title. Jeff Lemire's perfect choice for this, and he's really given the book a really good big boost. Title you don't often see near the top of my stack, but Batman The Dark Knight, it was worth holding out for and not dropping so soon. Issue 10, and this I reckon is basically all due to the fact we've got Greg Hurwitz doing the writing, and David Finch can now concentrate on just drawing a really nice comic. Much better artwork from him, because you know, it's like I said before, if you're doing the writing and you're doing the artwork, something's going to drop, if not both of them, in quality, and it certainly showed in past issues. This, however, really great story. We've got, what have we got? We've got kids being kidnapped off the street and then being let loose again, but their minds are... there's fear toxins abounding. Natalia, Bruce's new girlfriend, there's... is she being affected by the toxins, or is there some connection there? Because it's just, she's such a confident woman, but suddenly, you know, she can't get her piano right and she's wondering what people will think of her. Is something seeping in there? Greg Hurwitz is really writing a much better story, a much more cohesive storyline, and having the Scarecrow in there as the next villain. I like the Scarecrow, I like the whole fear toxin, using your fears to defeat you or overcoming your fears. So yeah, much better title, much better time to jump onto The Dark Knight, or if you dropped it, to pick it back up again. So one more to go, and I guess that must mean it's my pick of the week. Oh, let's just do it. It's Fatale. It's issue 6, and this is book 2 of the Fatale series. It's The Devil's Backbone. We still have... We've moved on a bit now. We've moved... The main storyline is now set in the late 70s in LA. An LA full of drugs, sex and parties. And our new main male protagonist is Miles. He's an actor of sorts. He's been in a movie. And who else was in this movie at the time? It's our heroine on the front, Josephine. And Josephine at the moment is just kind of in hiding. She knows she's got this kind of power over men, this kind of supernatural curse that she sees it as. So she's kind of like cloistered herself away in the hills of LA, almost becoming, as she says, the epitome of those old film stars who can't get work anymore and hide themselves in rooms watching, you know, past glories. But she's still incredibly young. She hasn't appeared to age a day. The prologue at the start, our character that we saw right at the beginning of Fatale, Nicholas Lash, in our kind of present day, he's still looking for Josephine, not having much problems, having a lot of problems, I should say, locating her, and through his kind of investigations, he starts to feel a bit paranoid that he's being watched, and he's being followed, and quite frankly he is. The story by Brubaker, it's just so intricately weaved and interesting and intriguing, and you just get immersed into the world. I mean, by no small feat by Sean Phillips' artwork as well. I love his kind of palette of colours he uses, that pulp fiction, whichever era he's doing it, but it's still this kind of pulp fiction-esque kind of atmosphere and environment. You just like, you soak it all up, and it's just so much fun to read. It's entertaining and thought-provoking. It is one of those kind of books like, what is going on here? Where all these coincidences that kind of come together. Brilliant book. Missed it. It kind of had a little break by 2 more weeks than usual. It came out, it was about 6 or 7 weeks ago now, but it come back with a vengeance. Love Fatale, and definitely go out and pick it up. The trade of the first book should be out now, so you can catch up with it that way if you can't find the single issues. And that's it for this week with comic book reviews. I have some stuff to put up soon after this, more long box videos, hopefully some Ultimate Graphic Novel collections, because I now have, now the next one, which is Captain America Volume 4, The Real Deal, collecting issues 1 to 6. I've started reading it. Anyway, back in there, and I shall say goodbye. Don't forget to subscribe if this is your first time. Give it a big thumbs up and put a comment down on the comment box below. Now I'm off to enjoy some muggy sun, because although it's kind of sunny out there, it's very muggy. Bye bye.